Listener discretion is advised.
He's a published author, he's a syndicated blogger, and the executive director of that ministry, and correspondent in Freedom Friday. Mike, it's so good to have you with us.
If you guys are anything like me, you get up at 5 in the morning and you get your coffee on, and then you sit down and look at the news headlines. And when I finally got around to the Drudge Report this morning, what did I see but a big old picture of Barack Obama with a fly on his face?
I saw it on there, and I saw it on P.P. Simmons. Yeah, right in the middle of his forehead. It was freaky looking.
Well, didn't that remind you of 2008 when I mean, the first time I ever heard of it, I was back when I was still listening to Glenn Beck. He was commenting on the eeriness back in 2008 of all the flies that were always hounding this man.
Listen,
right?
I was going to say I didn't remember the date, Mike, but I remember that this is not the first photograph that's been taken of that guy with a fly on his head. I mean, is he the Lord of the Flies or what?
Now, who is the Lord of the Flies, though? You know who that is, right? That is Beelzebub.
Well, that's correct, but then also there was a novel and a movie about it, about these guys, these kids, I think, get shipwrecked on an island. Aren't I correct in that? And they try to have their own laws, their own government, and they basically turn to all kinds of, start attacking each other, killing each other. It just becomes a mess. And isn't that what the Lord of the Flies was about?
You know, I never did see that movie.
Yeah, somebody can correct us on that, but I'm almost sure I've got it right. But then there's Beelzebub, you know, the devil, the Lord of the Flies, and this guy, once a year, there's a picture, just a press corps picture taken. He's got flies all over his head. This guy's got flies buzzing around his head every time we see a picture. Go ahead.
Yeah, but you know the fly thing is not. If you're a student of the Bible, you're no stranger to the. To the references to flies in the Bible.
Yep, Exodus.
Right, the reference to Beelzebub, Jesus mentioned him several times. He was actually referred to as someone who did works by Beelzebub.
Right.
And Beelzebub is a name that we hear in movies often, just like you mentioned earlier. But what is Beelzebub? Now, this is an interesting study. If you guys ever get time to get into this, Beelzebub, that is a word that is unique. You know, like the word science comes from the Latin word scientia, right?
Right, which means knowledge. Mm-hmm.
It means knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Literally means
mm-hmm.
knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And we could trace all of our English words back to one origin.
Mm-hmm.
But the name Beelzebub, it traces back. It has 4 separate origins.
Yep.
And it rose up from 4 separate origins separately.
Arabic.
Arabic, Hebrew. Let's see here. Arabic, Hebrew, Latin, and Greek.
Mm-hmm.
And it means Lord of the Flies. That's what it
yes,
means.
no, it does. You're absolutely right. And in fact, I'm on a website right now, BibleHistory.com, which has a dictionary of millions of words, and the word "fly," and I'm just looking at it, and it means it's Beelzebub. It comes from the Arabic, and as you said, Hebrew and Latin, variations of that word, but it means a fly or a bee, but most predominantly a fly. And it talks about the biblical quotes about the land being corrupted by flies. And then, of course, as you said, you get to the New Testament, and what does Jesus call Satan? Beelzebub.
Calls him Beelzebub, because Jesus calls Satan the Lord of the Flies.
Yeah. Yeah.
And here we have, it's really odd, isn't it?
It's just freaking, yeah.
The fly thing, the fly connection with Obama is really strange. And it goes back to... in biblical references, Beelzebub is referenced in many literary works. Is even mentioned in the Pilgrim's Progress.
Uh-huh.
But there was a guy, a king of Israel named Ahaziah.
Uh-huh.
And when he fell and got a boo-boo, what did he do? Did he cry out to Yahweh? No, he sent his people to the god of Ekron, the Philistine god, right?
Right.
And what was that god's name? Beelzebub.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Beelzebub is the god of the Philistine city of Ekron. That's where he comes from.
Right.
So he's a god of the Philistines. Philistines, they sort of morphed into a primarily Muslim people group now.
Right.
we call the Palestinians, But let's keep our eye on the fly thing here, because not only is the fly problem connected to Beelzebub,
Right.
it's connected to judgment from God.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
In the book, you mentioned the book of Exodus at the beginning of this segment.
Yeah, it's one of the 10 plagues.
It's one of the 10 plagues.
Yeah, I know.
And what did God say to Pharaoh? God said to Pharaoh through Moses, "If you will not let my people go,
Right.
I will send swarms of flies upon you."
Right. Yeah, that's a good connection.
Flies are a sign of judgment from God. They
Yes,
just are.
yes,
This
they
guy,
are.
I mean, the fly connection here is just reached odd levels.
Well, it has. I mean, you would imagine that one picture out of 5 years of a fly, I mean, on his head, I mean, that could happen. But, Mike, it's at least once or twice a year. Somebody just snaps a picture, and I mean, just taking a picture of him, and you look, and there's a fly on his face.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm going to be posting an article on this, because there's video out there of Obama actually being swarmed by flies while he's being interviewed. I mean, he was giving that was one instance. Then there's another instance where he's giving a speech in the Rose Garden or something,
yeah.
And he's being attacked by flies and rats are running around beneath his feet. And I mean, it's just really weird how this guy is attracting all of these dirty creatures.
It is. Listen, I got to ask you. So there's another eerie connection to Star Trek. Tell us about that.
This is a bit of a personal one for me. I have people feeding me news stories and pictures all day long, and somebody sent me a picture of the First Lady's inauguration dress, and a comparison side-by-side picture with the female Star Trek Klingon, Romulan, Vulcan dresses. She is wearing a Star Trek uniform. And you notice her hairdo. It matches the haircuts of the Romulans. She has transformed herself into a Star Trek character. And when I saw this, it bothered me tremendously, because I used to be one of those Trekkies, when I was younger, and so this is very personal for me, because when I was saved 20 years ago, I did some research on the whole Star Trek phenomenon, and I discovered that Gene Roddenberry, the guy who this was his brainchild, essentially, the whole Star Trek thing.
I know where you're going with this. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a devout atheist.
Yes, he was.
And he made several public statements about faith and God, etc. And he said essentially that the only difference between religions is their level of idiocy, and I subscribe to none. And Star Trek is his version of a communist, atheistic utopia.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yep. No, I've read some articles from him. I've quotes from him. That's exactly right. I mean, he made the movie as a treatise on atheism, actually.
It's a treatise on atheism. That's exactly right. And even though some of the lesser evolved creatures in the show use some sort of currency, the people from Earth have abandoned currency. And there's one episode where Captain Jean-Luc Picard, he's asked by someone who managed to travel forward in time, what is this worth, essentially? And Picard says, "Oh, well, we've evolved past the use of currency. We just do everything, because of the goodness of our hearts."
Right.
So it is the atheistic utopia that's being promoted there, and Michelle Obama dressing up like a female cast member. And this isn't just me saying this, folks. There are other people making this connection. And I ended it there. In fact, I made a video about it. Is Michelle Obama promoting communist utopia with her dress, with her inauguration dress? And it's up on the blog and on the YouTube channel. But then I started digging a bit more. And it gets really weird now, guys, because I found an interview that Space.com did with Leonard Nimoy. And they asked Nimoy about Obama, because I guess he met Obama. And this is what Nimoy said. He said, "I do believe that President Obama means it when he says there is a 100% interest in space," Nimoy told reporters. "I know for sure that he's a Star Trek fan," he said, "because the first time he met the two men met, President Obama made Spock's traditional V-shaped finger spread. So Obama is into the whole Star Trek thing. And then I got to thinking, is there some sort of erotic thing going on here? I mean, if Obama, now there's more evidence here I'm going to share with you in a second, but I got to thinking, is there some sort of an erotic, that role-playing stuff that people do?
Yeah.
I personally, I don't see the value in that, but I know that exists. People do that. And if you look at the picture of Michelle Obama, she looks like a Star Trek character.
Yeah. No, I've seen it, yeah.
Yeah, and then we go on to an article I found by the New York Daily News, and this event really happened. That he had a run-in with he invited cast members from Star Trek to the White House,
right,
to meet them. And you remember Uhura? She was the black woman who dressed in her little sister's skirt on the show.
Yeah.
You remember her? He invited her to the White House, and her name is Nichelle Nichols, and there's a picture of her in the Oval Office with the president.
Uh-huh. And
they're both standing there, arm in arm, and they're both doing the Vulcan V signal.
Uh-huh. It's
really creepy.
Yeah.
And during her run on the Star Trek series, it says she proved African American, but she did pave the way for African American artists to be on TV back, that far back. But then it goes on to say President Obama, who himself boldly went where no man has gone before, as the first African American elected to the White House, is an admitted comic fan and Star Trek geek.
Yeah.
I don't know. This may not interest anybody else but me, but it just seems to me like they're promoting the whole idea of a communist utopia in their policies, right? And we have John Kerry saying that he will promote Barack Obama's vision for the world. You probably saw that quote today in the news.
Uh-huh.
John Kerry saying when he was he's going before the confirmation hearings, he said, I will promote President Obama's vision for the world.
Yeah, I saw it.
For the world.
Yeah.
Well, isn't he the United States? Isn't he the American president?
Yeah.
I don't want his vision in Canada.
Yeah. Yeah.
But John Kerry's saying Barack Obama has a vision for the world,
yeah.
And I'm going to help bring it about.
Yeah.
Why isn't anybody saying, wait a minute?
Right. Yeah.
This is insane.
His Majesty Obama. Don't you know? I mean, Mike,
Beelzebub.
It is. Listen, Beelzebub.
Here we have Beelzebub in the White House, Lord of the Flies.
Yeah. Well, Jeff Cooner called him the Antichrist right here on Freedom Friday. So I mean, Jeff Cooner
the Antichrist will be Satan, and Jesus called Satan Beelzebub.
Yeah.
He will be indwelt by Satan himself.
Yeah. I know.
Jesus called Satan Beelzebub. Jeff Cooner called Barack Obama the Antichrist.
Right.
So when you conflate all of this information together, you find, and God himself said through Moses to Pharaoh, and there have been articles written in the news, the man who would be Pharaoh. I've seen that headline.
Yeah.
Almighty God says to Pharaoh through Moses, if you don't let my people go, I will send swarms of flies upon you.
Right.
And now we are seeing, there's videos out there of swarms of flies attacking the president. In fact, in one of these videos, he has to stop the interview to kill a fly.
I'm on westernjournalism.com right now, and there's an article entitled "Obama, America's First Pharaoh."
There you go.
Yeah, and I was looking through Google here. There's several articles referring to Obama as Pharaoh or thinks he's Pharaoh.
It's amazing.
Yeah. It is amazing. But so today we pull up Drudge, and right on the front page is this picture of Obama with a fly right in the middle of his forehead.